Hi friends, welcome back. I'm Elizabeth and this is weight loss update number 28. Guys, we're getting up there into like some higher numbers now. I'm so excited. So this is week number 2 of Eating Trim Healthy Mama. So this is weight loss update number 2 technically for Trim Healthy Mama, and I do have some things to talk about, so I'm kind of excited to share them. Right off the bat, we'll get the scale out of the way. There has been no actual weight loss on the scale, so I'm still at 35 pounds, around 33 to 35 pounds down. And so I'm okay with it for the next couple of weeks while I get kind of acclimated to this and see what my body's going to do and how it's going to respond. I'm okay with that. After that point of being on this for 3 or 4 weeks, yeah, I'm going to want to start seeing the scale move. So we'll see how that goes. We're just kind of taking it little bit by little bit, but I definitely want to start getting back on here for these weekly weight loss update videos and being like, yeah, I lost this much. So I definitely need to see the scale keep moving down. But if you've noticed, this is a new shirt today. So I pulled out some of my smaller clothes. Didn't pull them out. They're still in my closet, but just in a different area. And so, yeah, I took one and I'm like, okay, I can start wearing some of these. They're still like a little bit tight, like on my abdomen. So I can't necessarily like wear it out yet. But they're good for like video making purposes, some new looks, so that's fun. I'm not at the stage yet where I want to buy any new clothes, so whatever I have right now is like what we're dealing with, and I'm like trying to rotate my shirts, and I'm like, man, I have made several videos in each of these shirts now, so it's starting to get kind of repetitive. What do I wear? So I pulled this out. I'm excited. And one thing I have noticed, this is the coolest non-scale victory, you guys. I just love it. I was not anticipating this, but one thing I have noticed is that on my thumbnail pictures now, I'm like smaller. So when I go to like cut out my image and make my thumbnails of the pictures that we took, so my daughter takes my thumbnail pictures. So we literally just stand here in front of the lights and she angles the camera and she takes my pictures for me. And then I cut them out and I put them on my thumbnail and everything like that. Well, when I first started, like my shoulders, you know, and my body was just a lot broader and wider and bigger, right? And you can't totally tell from the thumbnails because, you know, I have to fit it on there in such a way so you're not seeing necessarily my entire body on there, and that's just whatever. But when I'm making them now, I'm noticing, oh my gosh, like my shoulders, everything comes down more, like right here. So this is where I've lost a lot of the weight, and so I wonder if it shows on like videos too, where it's just like it's a lot less, like I'm just less as I sit in the chair, I'm less as I'm on the camera taking up the space. I just feel less. But yeah, I really noticed it the other day when I was making thumbnail pictures. Who would have known, right? That's the only way you have the non-scale victory like that, is if you have this like YouTube channel. I just thought that's the strangest non-scale victory you can have, is like, oh, I look smaller in my thumbnails. But it's so true, and that's not where I was like expecting to notice it, you know, but it is where I notice it. So it's kind of fun. I really like appreciated that one this week. So yeah, with smaller shirts and smaller thumbnails, it's really good. I do lose all the weight in my shoulders first. Like this is the first weight to go on my body. That's not necessarily where I would choose to lose my weight from first, because there are other areas that are more uncomfortable, but that is where it comes off from. So my number one spot is my stomach. My stomach's just uncomfortable having extra weight right there. It's like an inner tube around your waist and it's just uncomfortable. So that would be my first spot. I just want that gone. Everything else I can kind of deal with, but it's not like, there's some things you want to look nice, right, for vanity's sake. You know, you want a nice looking body. For my abdomen, it's like a comfort thing. Like it's so uncomfortable to have it there. That is my number one thing. I just cannot wait until that's gone. That and my arms. I don't show my arms on here that much. And you know what I'm gonna do is film some before stuff, and then when I'm actually at my goal weight, we'll do a comparison, and so you can see the angles of everything, what everything looked like. And yeah, I just don't feel like the need to get on here and show all the yucky looking fat every time. That's just my preference. But yeah, my arms are uncomfortable. You know, there's just a lot that like kind of hangs down or just gets in the way of fat or loose skin. And so that would be my second spot. So those are my 2 like main areas. And then after that, probably my butt. It will be really nice. It is getting smaller though. I don't know if that's too much TMI, but I know you can appreciate that because everybody wants a smaller butt, right? It's just like, it's going up and it's going smaller, and it's just like really exciting. So some good non-scale victories this week, even though the scale didn't move. That's okay. So I did take some notes, guys, because I wanted to make sure that I said the things I wanted to say this time. And so let's check this out a little bit. So this was like the second main week of doing Trim Healthy Mama, but this was the first week that I put out some of all these like extra videos. So hopefully 4 videos went out this last week properly. And so it should have been different content for you guys. The weight loss update, the eat with me days, the grocery haul days, and there should be a Trim Healthy Mama product haul again. So I put that out there. So hopefully you guys liked that. You know, it's really weird to transition on the weight loss because, you know, I had so many people watching for carnivore, and so now I'm kind of trying to figure out like what would you guys want to see now that I have to do a different kind of eating. And so it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to have to transition your type of weight loss, way you're eating, and do it like on video and still figure out like what kind of content to make. So, you know, it's just awkward. I know there were so many people wanting to see carnivore stuff, and for that I truly am sorry. But I do want to move forward with the channel, and I do want to move forward with at least making content that could help other people and making content, you know, that continues making content for this channel. So I definitely want to keep doing that, and so I'm hoping that helps. I'm hoping that there's Trim Healthy mamas out there, or other mamas considering it, that want to see that kind of content. So if that's you and you enjoyed it for this last week, you know, let me know. If there's other stuff that you want to see, also let me know, because I'm really kind of still trying to figure out, you know, how to do it, what, you know, what content to put up there. So really appreciate any kind of feedback. Please be nice. And so kind of going along with that though, I had this like thought today as I was driving home from exercising, because yes, I did get up and do my exercising today. So I have not missed any days. I do go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And the way that I'm doing that is I meet my mom to exercise. So her and I are exercising together, which is really, really nice. Hi mama, if you're watching. It's just nice. She's really supporting me in that, and we're going together, and it's nice. It gets you out of bed, you know, knowing that you have kind of an appointment with somebody else and you've got to meet them. And so it's just been really nice. It's good accountability for both of us, and we get to spend that time together. And so it's really special, and it's fun, and it's encouraging. And so yeah, I do go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I've got kind of my routine down now. I've got my routine down kind of with eating solidified better with this week of just kind of how to do it. And I've got my kids homeschooling situated good. And so yeah, I'm just in the schedule of doing it, and I just set my alarm and I wake up and I go, and that's what you got to do. So did not miss any of my days, but that's not what I was going to say. What I was going to say is, as I was driving home, I just had this thought today. You know, it is kind of awkward, right, to switch up the eating. I really wanted to be able to do carnivore the whole time, lose all the weight, have this kind of success story. So I envisioned in my head how it was going to go, and how I was going to eventually transition to Trim Healthy Mama for maintenance, and how all this was going to go down. And it didn't work out that way. You know, you plan and life hits you. And so now I find myself on this plan, and I love it. You know, I love what I'm doing, but I had to kind of transition this channel too. And so it is kind of awkward. And so I was kind of thinking about it as I was driving along, and I realized, you know, I am so pumped, and I am so motivated, and I am still so committed to doing this, to losing the weight, that I do not care how many times I have to like change up the plan, or do something different, or try a different way of eating, or whatever. Like, it's all part of the journey. None of it's like a failure. And I don't care how many times I have to like change things up, or transition this channel, or do a new way of eating, or whatever, if something's not working, because I'm really finding what's going to work for my body, what's going to bring the weight off, and I feel fine with that. If I have to change it 100 times, I feel fine with that. Now, I'm hoping this time that Trim Healthy Mama is going to do what I'm hoping it'll do. It did before, so we'll see if it's going to be good this time too. And that's definitely my hope, is just to stick with this the whole way now, because it's what I want to do for maintenance. And so once I lose the weight, I'll continue on the plan doing it for maintenance. It changes up a little bit, but not a whole heck of a lot. It's still all the same food, and it's just kind of a healthy way to eat for life, and that's what I want to do. So I'm hoping to just stick with this. If the weight loss slows, I am planning to start looking into some different ways to do your fuel. So I really talked a lot in the last video. Sorry guys, that was so long, and I had so much energy that day that I just literally talked ravenously the whole time. It was crazy. So basically, I explained a lot about the plan in that video, and I am going to be doing coming up this week actually, more plan videos about the plan. So where we talk about the different things. But there are things you can do if your weight is going slow. You can do a full day of something called a fuel pull. And there's different meals that are kind of like fuel pull meal types. And there's lots of examples in their books. And so it's really easy to kind of get your grasp on it. I want to make some videos so that I can show you, so that it's really visual and you can kind of get an idea of it. Because sometimes just reading the book and then implementing it is kind of hard. And it's just easier to have somebody show you on video. At least that's how I learned. So I'm very visual and I like to see it, and so I watch videos too, you know, to learn these different things. So I'm just trying to put stuff out there and spread, you know, positivity, and spread, you know, just make life a little bit easier of how to do this. So anyway, so you have these days of fuel pull, and you can also do something called a fuel pull cycle. It's like a 2-week cycle that you cycle through, and I'll have to make a whole video on that, but you can find it in the book. It's too much to describe right now, but it's basically like a 2-week thing, and it just kind of helps kickstart if you're just a slow loser. They call it turtles. You're a turtle loser, and I really am. I very much so believe I am, and so yeah, you really do kind of have to cycle through and do that. And so those are some things maybe coming up. I want to compare it to protein sparing modified fasting, because protein sparing modified fasting was not really a thing. Maybe it was, but it wasn't as widespread, and so I had never heard of it when I was doing this before. And so I'm curious how it compares to fuel pull, how it's different, what you know, in quantities of protein or different things. And I kind of want to compare the two, and I kind of want to do whole days of eating of the two, and I kind of want to just see what the results are like, and which one is better for weight loss for me. So I'm going to be playing around with that too, regardless of how well this works anyway. I still want to kind of do that, but those are kind of like my secret weapons, that if the weight just really is still slow, that's okay, because I'm going to try these things. So that's what I'm going towards. But to sum up my whole story, as I was driving along, I realized when I am done with this and I have lost the weight, I am going to have fought for every single pound. Like every single pound is going to be completely like earned, because you really do have to fight for it. It's an active process. My weight does not just fall off my body, and you have to be conscious of it the whole time. And so it's going to be every bite and every single pound and every single movement of exercise. I mean, it's going to be hard earned and hard fought for, and that's how it's going to go down. But I'm so excited to be documenting this. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you'll stick with me and see how this goes, because it's definitely a very interesting process. Anyway, one thing I have noticed is that when I'm making things for my kids, it's like so much easier now that I'm not strict carnivore to be like, oh, I can have like a little bite of this, you know, like I have to be like, no, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. Like before I would like not even lick my finger or anything. Now it's like, you know, you get a little something on your finger or whatever that you're cooking for them, and you know, you just lick it off and you don't think about it, right? Well, I still have to be like really conscious about it, you know, and it's so much easier now to kind of slip up a little bit now that I'm not as on a strict of a diet. But yeah, so that has been like an interesting thing this week, that I've noticed that I just have to be a lot more like conscious of things. So that's one thing I'm noticing. Anyway, let's see, what else do we have on here? I really just have one more thing to talk about with you guys real quick before this video gets too long. And I've really debated, did I even want to bring it up or mention it? But I'm going to, because I'm hoping if there is still some carnivore people watching, or you find this later, you know, trying to figure out why I switched from carnivore or whatnot, I just wanted to mention this. So this is very, very interesting to me. And this week I decided to go donate some plasma, and I just wanted to. It's a nice thing to do. My son got me into it, and so I went and tried donating plasma. And it's very interesting because I kind of did have a little bit of a reaction, not to give like plasma donation a negative thing or anything, but I went early in the morning and I donated, and for the rest of the day I felt very weak and very lightheaded and had trouble like standing and feeling like, okay, I just felt really weak and like icky and just no energy or anything. And so I'm like, okay, gotta figure out why I'm feeling this way. You know, what did they say? What's the things? So obviously hydration is really, really important, because plasma is made of mostly water, right? So you hydrate really well the day before you go in, and you know hydrate when you're done. And so hydration is really important, but I don't know that that's necessarily why I was like feeling so weak and lightheaded and stuff. So I kept kind of searching, and electrolytes came up because they're pulling electrolytes from your body. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's interesting. So I did all the things I was doing on carnivore to try to make sure I was having enough electrolytes. So, you know, I had like a lot of salt that day and just different things. I did some electrolyte drinks and stuff, just trying to get back to normal. And by the next day I felt fine the next day. My energy levels were normal again. I did not have that issue. Plasma replaces really fast. So I didn't know if I necessarily wanted to even get into sharing that, but I felt like it was relevant because it was very interesting to me that I felt exactly how I was feeling when I was on carnivore. And I know we've talked a lot about my blood sugar on this channel, and I definitely was experiencing blood sugar drops. I was seeing it on the meter. I went and bought a meter. I was testing it because I needed to know. And, you know, it was going down into the 50s. And so it was ranging in there. And so I definitely know it was dropping. However, there would be times where I still felt icky and it wasn't low. And I'm just like, I don't know, is it like a residual, you know, thing or whatnot? And now that I experienced that, it's like a light bulb went off. I'm pretty sure I was also having some electrolyte issues. Maybe, I don't know how severe. I definitely wasn't like getting blood work or anything all the time as that was going on, so I don't really know how all that was being measured or going down. But yeah, I think I was also experiencing electrolyte issues, which is kind of frustrating because there was a chunk of time in there where I was doing like 3 teaspoons of salt a day. Like I was doing the element drinks, you know, I was just really working on supplementing my electrolytes, and I was still feeling really icky. And it's amazing how I did those same supplements after the plasma donation and I felt great the next day. And so to me, that was just really interesting. And I just wanted to mention that. I think a lot of what I was experiencing, just the weak and the fatigue and not feeling good, maybe that wasn't all the time low blood sugar, because my blood sugar wasn't low all the time. Like I would correct it, you know, and just still couldn't shake that feeling. So I think it was also having to do a lot with electrolytes, which we talked about, you know, a bunch on this channel. I was always kind of questioning that. Was I getting enough electrolytes in? And I don't think I was. So it's just really to stress even more, if you're still doing carnivore or ketovore or even keto, you know, really you've got to get those electrolytes in. And if you're feeling that way, lightheaded, dizzy, just weak, or just not right, or just not having energy, or not feeling like you can stand up, or feeling sluggish in your movements, really do check electrolytes. That's a big thing. That's why Paul Saladino had to stop. He got severe electrolyte issues, you know, severe enough to have heart palpitations. So he felt cold all the time. It's interesting because I felt cold the whole day. I was experiencing that after the plasma donation. So that was one of the things that keyed me off, was like, oh, I'm cold. I'm like cold inside my body. So just very interesting. I don't think plasma donation is contraindicated to losing weight. I'm curious how it'll affect weight, but I don't think it affects much of anything having to do with weight loss, especially because I'm still having just really normal food, you know, and I'm not on a low like calorie diet or anything. So in the future, when I go donate plasma, I'm going to be supplementing with electrolytes and definitely making sure I'm hydrated enough, and see how I feel about that. Maybe I'll update about that in a few weeks and see if I've had any other reactions. I definitely don't want to feel that every time, but I think, guys, that I'm just one of those bodies that is like just ultra a little bit more sensitive to things, all kinds of things, medical things, but maybe I was just really sensitive to the electrolyte issue or sensitive to the blood sugar issue. My body just seems to be a little bit more reactive to things, where if any little thing is off, I just don't feel good. So it really has kind of solidified my decision even more that carnivore just wasn't right for me, at least right now in this season of my life, based on how I felt from this plasma donation and connecting those dots. I just wasn't feeling good. And so many people donate plasma and they don't feel anything. You know, my son can go and he doesn't notice anything. And so it's like, but I'm the person that will, right? And so I've had some negative experiences donating blood in the past. And so, yeah, I think I'm just a sensitive kind of body. And so while different diets will work good for some people, I really like that I'm kind of more middle of the road now and not swinging too heavily in any direction, because I think that's where my body, it just needs that middle balancing equilibrium. I think I'm kind of in the right spot now. So I just wanted to share because I'm hoping that can kind of help somebody maybe make some connections in your mind if you're experiencing problems and stuff too, of just, maybe what you need to do, or I don't know, or consider Trim Healthy Mama, because it really is a great and wonderful and pleasant way to eat. I've really been enjoying it so far. I have enjoyed these 2 weeks. It's pleasant, it's easy, it's fun. Once you get into the groove of it, it's nice. It's just nice and gentle. And you can do it while you feed your whole family, and you can sit and you can have meals together, and it's just really works well in my lifestyle. So far it's going really, really good. I've talked way too long again, so I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you guys so much for watching and joining me on this update. I'll see you guys next week, hopefully with good news. We'll find out. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.
We start to sail along these ocean waves. Nobody knows how to find us. It's turning out to be a perfect day. I just wanna leave our normal lives behind us. So let's get lost out